So now in this chapter I'm going to tell you about what is selecting elements, guys. So in the selecting element in JavaScript is a fundamental part of interacting with the document object object model, and below this actually step by step explanation along with the example for different method of selecting element I showed you. So I'm going to tell you about one by one. Okay, so accessing the document, right? So const my document equal to document. Step 2, selecting by id. Const element by id is equal to my document dot get element by id element id. It is a syntax, right? What is the selecting element and how it working, right? See, so selecting by class name, const element by class my document get element by class name. Selecting by tag name, so you have to use this const element by tag name my document dot get element by tag name dot bracket tag name. Selecting the first element matching a CSS selector, const element selector is equal to my document dot query selector CSS selector. Selecting all element matching a CSS selector, this is the syntax. Const element by selectors all is equal to my document dot query selectors all CSS selector, right? Now this is example of that. So when I'm saying accessing the document, what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of that? The document object represents the entire HTML document. We assign it to a variable my document for convenience, right? Come to the selecting by id. The get element by id method is used to select an element by its unique id attribute. Replace element id with the actual id of the element you want to select, right? Selecting by class name, the get elements by class name method returns a collection of elements with the specified class name. Replace class name with the actual class name, right? Come to the step 4, selecting by tag name. The get element by tag name method return a collection of elements with the specified tag name replace tag name with the actual tag name. Come to the step 5, selecting the first element matching a CSS selectors, right? So the query selector method return the first element that match the specified CSS selector. Replace CSS selector with the actual CSS selector. Come to the step 6, selecting all element matching a CSS selector. The query selectors all method return a node list containing all elements that match the specified CSS selector. Replace CSS selector with the actual CSS selector. Come to the example. Consider document HTML lang en head meta character. This is the example. Meta name, viewport content width, device initial scale 1.0, title element head body divide example divide div class selective paragraph. Now I will give you explanation part of also this code, okay? So don't worry about it, just see the example. Okay, paragraph div ul li class list item list item ul script, so the app.js. Why I showed the example to understand actually how you can write this code and what like you will get the output of that, right? So this is the JavaScript part. That's actually this is the JavaScript part of that. So step 1, accessing the document. Okay, so const my document equal to document selecting id. Const div element equal to my document dot get element by id. Selecting by class name, say const select divide my document get element by class name. Set selecting by tag name, say selecting by CSS selector, selecting all by CSS selector. Now I'm gonna one by one I'm gonna explain you what is the HTML engine and the explanation part. Document type declaration doc type HTML. Declare the HTML version being used, which is HTML5 in this case. Like HTML, what is HTML there? The root element HTML document structure, right? See, HTML, the root element of the HTML document. Language is equal to specify the language of the document as English. Head contain metadata including character set, view, port setting, and the document title, right? So come to the downside, meta character set. UTF-8 declare the character set of the document as UTF-8. Meta name viewport. See, this is a configure the viewport setting for responsive design. Title, this is set the title of the HTML document. Consider content inside body, right? Come to the side. See, div id is equal to example div. It is like a define a div element with the div id, example div, and the class selected div. P, contain the paragraph inside the div. U1, define the unordered list, right? Li list item 1 with the class list item. List item 2 with the class list item 2. List item 3 with the class list item. JavaScript inclusion. JS this. So link an external JavaScript file name app.js to the HTML document. This script is expected to contain JavaScript code that interact with the DOM, right? Purpose, what is the purpose of that? The HTML document provide a basic structure with a div containing paragraph, okay, an unordered list with the list item include an external JavaScript file app.js. The JavaScript code is expected to interact with the HTML element, demonstrating various methods of element selection and manipulation, right? So now I'm gonna one by one tell you about this JavaScript JS. I'm gonna explain you what is happening there, right? How when you correcting two page, what happened, okay? So explanation part of this line create a variable name my document and assign it the value of the document object. The document object represent the HTML document and provide method and properties for interacting with it. Come to the step 2. This line uses the get element by id method to select an element with the id example div from the HTML document. The select element is then assigned to the variable div element. Come to the third line, right? So selecting by id, right? So we are here, right? Constant select divs. So selecting by class name. So here the get element by class name method is used to select all element with the class select div from the HTML document. The select element are then assigned to the variable select div and which will be a collection node list of element, right? So this is all about this code. Now I'm gonna tell you constraint list item, right? I'm gonna tell you about this. The get element by tag name u method is employed to select all li element list item from the HTML document. The select element are then assigned to the variable list item forming a collections, right? This is a list item part. So now I'm gonna tell you about first list item, right? So using a query selector method, this line the first element that match the CSS selector dot list item from the HTML document. The selected element is assigned to the variable first list item. Now come to the all list item. Similarly, the query selector all method is used to select all element that match to the CSS selector list item from the HTML document, and the selected element are assigned to the variable all list item forming a node list, right? So this is all explanation part of this code. What is happening step by step, I explain you all. Now I just give the summary overall. The JavaScript code demonstrates various methods for selecting element from the DOM. Each step shows a different approach, including selecting by ID, class name, tag name, and CSS selector. This selected element can be further manipulated or interacted with using additional JavaScript code. So in this video I just explain you about what is selecting element, guys. So let's meet in another video.